Aboriginal history has been filled with many different campaigns and movements to gain equal rights to the white colonists and to gain back the land that they once owned for thousands of years. Some of these were the Ruaka Bark Petition, Reconciliation Movement, and the Tent Embassy. The movement that I am going to be looking at today is the Wave Hill Walk-Off, and how successful the Wave Hill Walk-Off was achieving increased pay conditions and the return of the land of the Aboriginal people. This question is relevant to researching the rights and freedoms of the Aboriginal people because it inspired change to the Aboriginal wages, they gained land rights, and inspired other Aboriginal right and freedom campaigns. The working conditions of the Gurindji workers were in before the walk-off was that they were provided with rations, tobacco and clothes as payment for their labour, which should be provided to the workers as well as their pay. On the 26th of August 1966, 200 Gurindji workers, stockmen and their families started a strike led by Vincent Lingiari at the Wave Hill station in the Northern Territory, refusing work from the station owners until they gained equal wages to the white workers, better working conditions, and when they gained ownership of the Daruga, the 7-year-long disputed land. These demands were finally met on August 5, 1775. Some of the other relevant questions that I will be looking at that will help guide my research are: what were the demands made by the Gurindji workers? What were the protesting methods that they utilized? What were the conditions that the Gurindji people were subjected to? The way that I conducted my research for my question was looking for any photos, newspapers, quotes, or accounts of the Wave Hill Walk-Off and looking through any credible websites like the National Australian Museum website to gain a general understanding of the movement. In the source shown, it depicts Vincent Lingiari, one of the movement's leading figureheads, standing next to a plaque set to a large piece of rock. This plaque had the lease handing back the land of Wave Hill to the Gurindji workers. This helps assist in answering the question because it shows the physical plaque physically set in stone, handing over the land, showing that they were successful at acquiring the land. The map shown shows about 3,236 square kilometres of land that was handed back to the Gurindji through the lease that was given to them by the Prime Minister of Australia, Gough Whitlam. This assists in answering the question because it shows the successful Wave Hill Walk-Off because of the huge amount of land that they were able to acquire from the government. This photo shows the symbolic transfer of the land from the Australian government to the Gurindji people, through Gough Whitlam's pouring of the dirt from the land into the hands of Vincent, the leader of the Gurindji people. This shows the success of the Wave Hill Walk-Off because of its symbolic transfer of the land, which was one of the main goals of the Gurindji people with the Wave Hill Walk-Off. This act was mainly done for the press, to make Gough look knowledgeable of the culture of the Aboriginal people. This quote is the words that were uttered by Gough Whitlam when handing over the deed of the Wave Hill area to the Gurindji people. This quote shows the success of the Wave Hill Walk-Off because of its formal recognition of the Gurindji people and their original ownership of the Wave Hill area by the handing over of the deed. This also shows the legacy that the Wave Hill Walk-Off had because of the statement that the area will forever be in the ownership of you and your children. This quote also empowers the Gurindji protesters by directly acknowledging Vincent and his role as a leader of the movement. This photo shows the main method that was utilized during the Wave Hill Walk-Off, which was marching themselves down to the Wave Hill station and refusing any work that they were told to do. This helps answer the question by helping us gain an understanding of what led to how successful the movement was. This source from the Maritime Union of Australia gives us information of the Wave Hill Walk-Off and the pay rise that they got, which was 125% increase, but they would still push for equal pay to the white workers. Even though the pay rise was not the main goal that they were aiming for in the Wave Hill Walk-Off, which was gaining back 3,236 square kilometres of land from the government, it shows the extreme success of the Wave Hill Walk-Off because it even achieved one of the smaller side goals that the Wave Hill Walk-Off had in conjunction with the main goal. They were also offered houses built by the government at the Wave Hill Welfare Settlement. The Wave Hill Walk-Off had led to inspiring other movements. One of the most recognised and the one that was most inspired by the Wave Hill Walk-Off was the Australian First Nation land right movement. The goal being to regain recognition of the ownership of waterways and other land that was the home to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples of Australia. This helps answer the question because it shows the Wave Hill Walk-Off has had ripple effects inspiring other movements. Wave Hill Walk-Off was an extremely successful campaign for the rights and freedoms of the Aboriginal people, gaining back the land once owned by the Gurindji people, getting a pay rise from lower pay than the white workers, improved working conditions from the constant harassment and poor living conditions, and inspiring other movements. The main protest strategy that they utilised to get these goals with success was marching themselves down to the Wave Hill station and refusing to leave or do any work during the protest. This can all be seen through the variety of primary and secondary sources provided. 3,236 square kilometres of land was handed back to the Gurindji, which was written down on the plaque placed in Wave Hill, seen in the map. The Wave Hill walk-off also brought them a pay rise of 125% to all Aboriginal workers. The Wave Hill walk-off also improved conditions for the Aboriginal workers and inspiring the Aboriginal lands rights movement. Through this shows the extreme success of the Wave Hill walk-off. Here are all the sources that I utilised for my research. Wow, there's so many of them. This task was hard to find sources for.